for.
So we're literally looking for cold spots. So don't overthink this, guys. Like, this is supposed to be fun, and I know it says scientific stuff, but don't overthink it. Just let things happen. But cold spots, you guys should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So that means I'm the hottest thing inside there. Sorry, Felix and Lucas. That's just the way that we're. If you're a bridal party, you guys would be on the ground right now laughing your asses off. But anyway, so we're looking for blue and black. So blue and black to move or to take shape on its own. So when I say take shape, I want a head, shoulders, moving arms, and legs. That's what we've caught with this guy in the past. Does it capture that every night? No, of course not. This is not TV. So again, I'm going to explain several times that this is not television. So the cool thing about your video, though, is that there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. So Lucas is going to be able to see like the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. And you guys are going to see that on your video as well. It's there to help guide your eye so that way you can see the cold spots, the coldest spot in the frame. Now, it is 84 degrees out here for us ambient, so I'm going to be looking for 15 plus degree temperature drops. So that's going to be, what am I thinking of? So 69 degrees. So 69 degrees and colder. I know it sounds fantastic right now, doesn't it? So I actually want to measure my water to see if it's at 69 degrees or colder. But anyway, so 69 degrees and colder. So in the event we don't have a full-blown anomaly, we might actually have just a small little cold spot that actually kind of showed itself to us very, very briefly. You'll always get a screenshot if I find those. This particular camera I don't always follow up with in real time, Lucas, simply because it's small and I send the video to YouTube so I can watch it on a computer. You can watch it on your TV screens. That's the beauty of this particular camera. So this is a FLIR. So as great as it's 3 different chucks. It's exactly why we look for secondary clues. I need to know which chuck came through in the event that somebody heard the name Charles. You guys getting my point? Perfect. Let's move on. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution. That's a big deal for us, but I hate politics. And Jay is already like wandering off. Like he's talking. I got distracted by the tree. Oh, no, it's okay. I want you to be looking around. I'm just gonna make a point that you're one of the younger people here, and you already got distracted because I said the word Constitution, and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna talk politics. So, but anyway, so we're not gonna be talking about politics all night long. We're gonna talk about Eliza. If I don't bring up that signer of the Constitution bit, they're gonna let me know through one of your spirit boxes in a very angry manner, kind of like, hey, where's my recognition kind of piece. So just kind of keep that in mind. I do it every night. Let's move on. Eliza. She married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say that way because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14, when girls got married. Think of today's standards, because her husband was over double her age when they married. Kind of a creepy age gap, good thinking for the scowl. Creepy age gap then, creepy age gap now. Now, she married Charles because her father was over in England, where they're from. And the father thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all of his children home one last time, including Eliza. And Eliza doesn't believe he's dying, so she's going to stay put and get married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that year to get a green card. We're not a country. So she did marry him out of love. Do not poke the bear at this location. This is a true love story. So there's no affair. There's no foul play with the marriage whatsoever. Please show this woman some respect while we're here. I'll explain more about that later on. But anyway, she was right. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where we're standing. One of the gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a day that I know of, so you've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you, because it's all over town. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue, and I think, Virginia, you're the only one wearing it tonight. You got blue jeans on? I can't tell. She's not paying attention. Perfect.
I think she is.
You're wearing blue jeans?
I am.
Okay, perfect. So she's wearing it right now. But anyway, when Eliza got her seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves, which were right here on the property, of how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, believe it or not. And then when she learned how to make the dye, she moved into a cash crop plantation, got a hold of her dad, and said, rice plantations are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of. So this is an unsung hero for sure. Now, that's the boring business shit of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to give you guys like kind of focus questions for all of the spirit box people. So the one thing I'm going to ask is that we're still pretty close to a tragic date of the family. So I'm going to ask that you do not, please do not, ask questions about Eliza's children. I will explain more about that before we leave the space. But what's going to happen here is I'm going to give you a bunch of questions that you can focus on. We're going to spread out a little bit. Just keep in mind there is somebody walking through, so I think you two are both good for right now. But at the same time, I'll do like 1 or 2 round robins based on what's going on in the location, and then I'll bring us back here again to kind of cover all the answers, and then we'll move on to the next phase. I do 1 or 2 round robins based on how much activity you guys are capturing. A lot of it's going to be dependent on Felix's device, because his device can go absolutely bonkers in this location. So Hope's like, yeah, I'm done for that too. Sorry, I called you Hope, didn't I? I did. I knew I was going to screw you guys' names up once.
Keep them on her toes.
I know,
Good.
right? Keep me on my toes. All right, so Virginia,
Yes.
your questions are going to be based on Eliza's death. So she's perfectly open talking about it. You can ask her how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Those are the 4 major questions that we normally get answers to. Keep in mind those are non-yes, no questions. So if you're going to go rogue, no questions about the children, no yes, no questions.
No, yes, no.
Yeah, just don't ask yes, no questions.
Open-ended.
There's always, always a way to reword it.
Okay.
We're going to keep you nice and simple because you haven't heard a whole lot yet. So, the mansion's not here anymore unless you see it and I don't. Do you see a mansion behind you? I don't.
No.
So you're going to ask what happened to the mansion and then when did that happen? So again, we're looking for the date. If we get the what, we normally get 2 or 3 numbers out of the date. So it's a very specific date. So at times, we've gotten all 3 numbers and I'm super excited. So this is me super excited, by the way. I'm not Zach Vegas. So those are going to be your focus questions. Your device is going to be kind of the supplement, but you're still going to have a focus. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza to Charles back-to-back. The first wife dies in January. 5 months later, he marries the one I just told you about. Okay, so kind of a jerk move, right? Yeah, depending on what kind of person you are. Or really smart, depending on what kind of fellow you are. Anyway, Felix is like, wait a minute.
Don't get any ideas.
Now, ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Figure out which Eliza we're dealing with. You can also ask the marriage questions because we will get digits and numbers on your device as well. So yours are going to be kind of simple. Everybody's got kind of simple, like you can see how I divided everything up. Any numbers coming out of yours yet at all?
0.2. We just went up to 0.2.
A little 0.2. Any anomalies showing up on your camera?
Coldest thing is whatever you got in your pocket.
Water.
That makes sense.
Fresh, cold water from the office. Anything crazy that you can't debunk yet?
No, just you.
Just me. I'm not the ghost, obviously. If there was a ghost next to me, and when I'm looking at that particular thing, I want, in real time, for example, if you see another person standing next to me, hey, Eliza, if that's you, can you raise your right hand and see if we get the reaction? Like, that's what we're looking for out of that guy. If you're talking to a sign, they're not going to raise their right hand, if you're getting my point. So, again, it's going to be a lot of debunking in real time.
It's like the 2.6 that you said.
I'll take a 2.6. That's your new threshold, sir. You don't want to give me anything below 2.6. So I know it's only 0.1 above our normal baseline, but again, 2.6.
Fist bumps. It might be the breeze.
That's the breeze. I was just going to say, that's the breeze.
Loud.
But
Cool.
I forgot to put those out for one last. Alright, so 2.6 is going to be our start. So let's spread out a little bit. Let's start asking us questions and let's see if we can get out of our stuff. Your word list, I want to keep you behind. So
Okay. Okay.
So there's a little white box to the right of the word. When you click on that, it honestly brings up everything we've had so far. So or aliens, or if there's a baby royalty involved, or if they were Jewish. So none of this is all very vague. Just getting to the point. So I'm kind of looking through this. I'm looking for specific details.
Right. Right. Yeah, they do.
It's very vague. Okay. New baseline is just going to be a 20. 20. Thank you, Eliza. Of course, we appended most of these friends. So, you don't want to clear out any of those terms.
Okay.
You give you the full word list.
Okay.
You don't hit the red X's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And then it will not, it'll generate words while you're on the other screen. You just won't be able to see them. Like, it won't add up
Oh,
to the
I
list in
gotcha.
real time. So
I
you kinda
gotcha.
have to
Okay.
select.
Yeah, that's cool.
When it goes red, it's just part of the aesthetic of the app.
Okay.
And it growls and does all kinds of stupid shit that we don't need.
Okay.
The volume is down low. So
All
when
right.
you see it doing that, it's probably going to give you a turn because it recognizes something. Now, in this box,
That's wild. Wow.
welcome to my world. So I've been using this app forever.
Wow.
Love this app. Even when I'm just testing out a place, even though it's only 20% accurate,
Yeah.
I will run that and take Felix's device with me and just kind of see if I get any readings and see if things start to match up. I don't like to wait till I get everything from the whole group and like, yep.
You gotta write everything down.
Yep. All right, got it. How's it going with yours? What's that short for? Is your name like Jay?
Jalen.
Got it. Well, my daughter's name is London, but everybody calls her Love.
Oh, that's cute. I like London. That's a cute name. Yeah, her name's Jacelyn, but everyone jacks it up, so she's my hope.
Completely understand. Lucas, how's yours coming along, buddy?
I mean, it's hard to get like a shot that's not at the sky, so it's like the only
Yep.
angle I can get that at
It's
is
almost
right
like you
here.
have to angle it down a little.
I know. I'm like trying to hold it down and angle it down,
You got it.
but I don't see nothing too cold yet.
Okay. And again, we may not see it in real time. You're basically the videographer, and I usually give the cameras to the quietest people. So Jay, you're on the wrong screen, by the way. So yep, come over this way. Let me fix that for you. I can already see it.
82, 52, and 29 over there.
82, 52, and 29. I will take it. We're still going to keep that 20. Let's go to 25 as a base. 82, 52. Stop your video for me. And we're going
How you doing?
Huh?
How you doing?
I'm doing fine-ish, I guess. I didn't catch nothing yet, no ghosts, so I gotta keep someone. Yeah, I gotta keep someone shot, but the only angle I can get at is here.
I'm
So
gonna go over there.
Yeah, go ahead and hit your record button and you're back on. Let's make the people purple. That's more fun.
yeah, I gotta get someone in frame. I don't see no ghost yet.
Me either. Get out of my circle. So far. I would respectfully ask, did you have a pet? Do you have a cat? A dog?
And at the end of the night, you're going to see like it can be very disoriented by what we're going to be doing at the last practice. And by the way, as far as vaping goes, I don't mind at all. I actually vape in between spaces, so don't.
They mind. She minds me, not me specifically. Yeah. Just
sorry.
My
So
daughter,
about your health.
my 17-year-old's like, are you smoking now? I'm like, you can't smell the flavor in the car? Like, and I was like, I'm not stupid. I know you and her boyfriend's name is Colin. I'm like, I know you and Colin are trying things. You're 17. I get it. I'm like, well, just don't tell April that's my wife, my stepmom. Like, just don't tell her to take the dogs out without her vape in her pocket. I'm like, yeah, I thought so.
I keep asking if there's just like a dog.
You'll catch yourself. And if I hear you, I'll catch
Wait
you.
a second. That's a yes no.
It is. There's always a way to reword it.
It's a lighthearted cat.
What was the question?
So the cat. Then I change it to pet.
That's still a yes no question.
What pet did you have?
What pet?
What
did you
pet
have?
did you have? Did you love animals? What were those animals that you loved? Over there.
Stay still.
It should be steady.
There's nothing in them. Like, you go measure them. Oh, there's nothing coming off of them. You can turn them. Yeah, they're sold. So that's a whole different type of EMF altogether, which that's not possible. All right.
Hold up.
All right, I say we rein it in. Let's go back to the back to where we started. You know, because Jay hasn't like screamed at me through the camera and said there's an extra person in there. So, Lucas hasn't. He's still holding his steady. He's still quiet.
Oh, am I supposed to stop recording?
You guys can stop recording if you want. Give your hands a break. Wall that they're going to come in here, or they're going to come in from the exact same way that we came in. We're actually not going to go all the way through this alley, like all the way down to the end, specifically because I've been kicked out of here. And yes, I'm going to tell you about that before we leave the space, because that's the fun part of the story. And technically, cores aren't allowed down halfway, like past the halfway point. We'll talk about how I got booted out. Obviously, I broke the rules because I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, this used to be called Jewelers Alley. Oh, lens cap.
Yeah, it's great.
Sorry, wife's a photographer, so I was like, I know that sound. Yeah. I know that sound because I'm usually the one carrying her gear, and that's what I drop, is the damn lens cap. But anyway, Jeweler's Alley. We all tell the same story. However, I'm going to tell it to you a little bit different, more details. You're ghost hunting, not campfire marshmallow kind of ghost tour. So here's how the story goes. A doctor moves down to Charleston from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. In the event that the two of you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. We get it all the time because it's part of his name. So kind of keep that in mind. Anyway, Dr. Ladd moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of the cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. He tells Amanda, get rid of that doctor. So Dr. Ladd, to prove that he's not after her cash, moves to Charleston. He's going to start his medical practice here. On his way into town, the coachman that brought him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here in Charleston. Somebody was walking by and seeing what was about to happen because he lives here. He knows the coachman. His name is Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph for just a second. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. We were getting the letters RI all the time on your spirit boxes from somebody spelling something on the radio. However, I did buy that digital Ouija board device to make sure like we were getting those specific letters. I can't tell you how many times in the past 6 months that we've actually gotten the letters RI consecutively on that Ouija board device as I mentioned Ralph's name. So take that for what it is. People get weirded out by me calling it a Ouija board electronic device, so I don't always bring it out. It's not always productive either. But anyway, back to Ralph. He tells the doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can stay with some friends of mine, rent a room, and you'll be safe and good to go. Doctor took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here in Charleston, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he just wasn't after Amanda's money. So Amanda gets wind of this, that her fiance's making his own money, and she's moving down to Charleston. Dr. Ladd hears about that, and he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Every haunted city that you're ever going to visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. Every single one of them does. Ours just happens to be a doctor. We're going to talk about his whistles here in just a minute. Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's the way the hierarchy works. They talk about these plays on the way home. So one night they go see Richard III from Shakespeare, and they're arguing on their way back home, talking about the new actress that was here. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets pretty nasty, right? So, they go their separate ways, and Ralph has friends around town. He puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of thing. Dr. Ladd saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this once and for all. So, they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the bravery to show up to the fight. However, Ralph has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd didn't die, but his friend, he dropped to the ground. His friends picked him up and took him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, after refusing medical treatment on November 2nd of 1786. It's 1786. He refused medical treatment because, first off, he's a doctor, which means he probably just tried to bleed it out. Bullet wounds were a lot different than they are now. So again, he probably just thought it was lead poisoning. So, every ghost tour is going to tell you to listen for the whistles in real time while you're here. What I'm going to tell you is we have 2 cameras running plus my voice recorder. If there's whistles going on down here, one of these 3 devices will pick it up. Secondly, your spirit boxes. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a whistle from a song and then the word doctor. Happens all the time. So, again, we get a lot of weird things around here. His address, there's specific things about his house that he lived in at 59 Church Street. There's attributes to that show up that are very specific. Again, can't make this stuff up. That's a weird light that just popped on out of nowhere.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen that light before. Anyway, so here's how I got booted out of here. By the way, if you're going to try this on your own and you're going to walk all the way through here, listen for your whistles through your voice recorders on your phones. Just listen to it later. Just turn on your voice recorder, walk all the way through. But keep in mind, every local knows the story. So anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single morning on my way back to my car. We passed up my garage, but my office is up here, which means I have to pass the alley every morning once I'm done with your guys' data. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I always throw up every single night. Well, morning for me. So kind of keep that in mind. Here's how I got booted out. There was a wall between us and Cumberland Street, about halfway. The reason being is because this is where they used to keep the livestock for the city of Charleston. So think of cows and chickens and all kinds of things down here. This used to be called Cow Alley before it was called Dueler's Alley. So what does that mean? On the other side, way down by Queen Street, those bricks are older than the ones we're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child down there, like in one of the bricks, and fingerprint swipes and others. When I first started doing this, I would take my group all the way down and show the history. We all need to see how far we've come from slavery. I don't care the diversity of my groups. So, one night, November 26th of 2020, very exact date, my entire group of 10 is huddled around that one brick waiting for something to happen. I know nothing's going to happen because I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. He's not there. I'm also trying to shoo them along because it's outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I'm just trying to be respectful to the home, not realizing I was out of bounds for tours that late at night. So the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because she was on the tour that night and her dad's getting yelled at. So we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work on Thanksgiving simply because I worked in upper management for Walmart for a good part of 20 years. I don't do Thanksgiving ever again. I missed out on too many because y'all like to go shopping. So, secondly, the next day we go out again. It's November 28th. But I called my partner that I had at the time and I told him what happened. He laughs at me as well. He says, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway or you got to reroute your group. So I told my group that night, because again, it's Black Friday. I'm sold out again. I don't believe in the next story because I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. We're talking about pirates next, in case you didn't figure that out. Now, before we left the space, somebody heard the name Anne on a spirit box. I didn't tell them which pirate we're going to be discussing. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I went, well, oh shit, we'll see what we get out of this. So we go up there, I told them what little bit I did know about pirates. Remember, I had less than 24 hours to do some quick reading and see what I can come up with. And somebody else heard the number 300. I don't know what it means. I write it down. the next day, because I didn't always have an office down here, I'm doing the research, and I find out that we were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy, November 28th of 1720, the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial.
That's wild.
Yes. So you guys are all looking at me like, huh, that's some really good stuff. I was pissed. Let me tell you why. I've already told Felix I have a master's degree in creative writing. I still need facts and data in order to be able, especially to do what we're doing out here. Pirate stories come from pirate lore, which were written 100 years after the fact of when they allegedly happened. So I've read more books on piracy to make sure what we're about to discuss is as legitimate as I can possibly make it, because it's pirates. You kind of have to keep that in stride. Anne Bonny is also said to be seen all over town. The next location is a 50-50 shot. I'll explain why we're there in relation to Anne Bonny, and we will be able to spread out like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. And hopefully we're going to get things from here, from Dueler's Alley, along with the story from Anne Bonny. So, before we leave this space, because I know it's super hot down here this time of year, the gate behind me. Remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way, right? So in the event there was a loser to a duel, this was the shortcut to get to the cemetery on the other side of this wall. Otherwise, they're carrying a dead body all the way down to Queen Street and have to double back with the dead body in the heat of summer. You obviously are feeling the heat of summer right now for us. So the wrought iron wasn't here, by the way, so that was probably put there in the early 1900s, but you can see that the archway is definitely part of the original wall. There's other rumors that Andrew Jackson actually had a duel down here, and that there's gunshot bullet holes in the walls and that kind of thing, which is why all of the ivy lines it up all the way down so you can't go find them. But again, it is what it is. Lots of rumors and myths of things that I've never really found the existence of. If you are, into photos like Felix, this is probably one of the most beautiful places in all of Charleston. It's well lit day and night, and it is usually really quiet without the ACs running.
That's beautiful.
It is, again, this is one of my favorite places in Charleston. I hate to give it up, but every tour comes down here, and I don't want you guys to keep hearing the same shit like you've already heard from another tour.
Oh.
So, anything crazy that may have been heard before we leave the space? Hope, Virginia? Nothing coming
I
up?
was listening to you.
Okay, and that's okay. Yours is recording.
I did hear, fire and, a distorted kind of arm, so maybe firearm.
I'll take it. However, this was named Philadelphia Alley because Philadelphia helped us out of one of our many, many fires that I've already told you about, and that's why we renamed it from Dueler's Alley to Philadelphia Alley. So I'll still take the word fire and then a distant arms, as you kind of heard. Firearms. I'll take it. Anything crazy coming up on yours? Alright, no. And by the way, your baseline would have been a 7 in here because of the lamppost will give off EMF. So any crazy words we need to know about before we leave? What are the last 3 that you have?
Demand, movement, shear.
Okay, whole lot of nothing. So hopefully Dr. Ladd will come through at the next location. For those of you with cameras, if you want to keep them running, by all means do so. We're only going up and around the corner, and then you can keep it going. I'll give you the crazy history of Anne Bonny. We'll investigate and see what's going on, and hopefully we get some activity out of Anne and the doctor. Usually the doctor likes to, trickle his way in from time to time. So,
okay.
All right, let's go up around the corner. Rated R Pirates. You guys ready for this? That was a punny. Nobody got my punny. Rated R Pirates. Come on, guys. See, now I get one. Stays so warm down here. Yeah.
We did nothing all day. We did cook something. We were cold as you right now.
Yeah.
We did get in the pool and shower. Now we got to start all over again.
So how long you staying here?
Thursday.
Okay.
But the reason I was looking at you horrified about the mummy is I grew up in Kent County, and I was in the Virginia, which is like a bird.
Okay.
And in Washington, I did Mark Custis, went to church at the end of my street.
Okay.
Way out in the middle of nowhere. We only got like one little parkway being out there on the rest stop. So they have a six-month marker at his first church, first lady. So it was a contention that they were married there, but they really, most likely weren't. But George Washington popped his way down our street going to Corton.
Wow.
And we've gone down there with Lucas, and there's like, it's not an obelisk. We got a picture somewhere. It's like this gravestone. It's like this tall. It's like 8 infants and toddlers, just like stacked on each other. And I did the crying to grieve and like whooping cough, pneumonia, and all this stuff. So that's why I was like, well, they never hold on to
they also probably didn't know the land very well to know how much land mass they were going to have for cemetery.
But this was horrifying grave.
We found.
It's like baby.
Yeah.
It was a cool headstone there from 1683.
About the lady who went through all of that, and
Quick.
that's a lot of loss.
Yeah.
Dude, in the headstone, I did some research. I'm descendant of him.
Of people in that headstone?
Oh, yeah, the dude from 1683. He's my great-great-son and grandpa.
So it's probably at least fourth great back from 16.
Because I know about 3 generations. Well, your great-grandparents about 100 years before you. Usually how I think about it.
So I actually did a little bit of tracing back. It turns out I'm a descendant of Sir Francis Drake.
Pretty
One
cool.
of the pirates.
The descendant of James IV of Scotland. That's most people think.
Alright. You really haven't given anybody a chance to listen to that, have you? Yeah. I didn't think so.
We weren't planning on it. No one heard.
Just let it happen, huh? Have you heard anything along the way?
Yeah, 1994.
Okay. I'll write it down. I don't know that there's any kind of reference from it. Obviously, Jane and I were talking. Anything crazy show up for you, Lucas? Anything on your camera? I know you and I were kind of chatting too.
Not that I noticed.
Okay. So Felix, in this location, don't get excited about readings in the corners up behind you because there's 2 electrical poles and then there's the parking meters on the other side. Readings back here on this back half are usually what gets exciting for us. Okay. Anything crazy coming out of you, fan lady?
No, it was.
Oh, she's charging now. Shit.
No,
She brought the whole gear.
No,
Reloaded.
I'm reloading.
Oh my god.
Wow. How many of those did you bring?
2. And a charger. Try living with me, it's bad.
1994. It's an interesting year. You guys probably weren't even born yet.
We're like a little bit behind that parking spot.
Okay. Again, I'm mainly focused on the 94, but at the same time, it could be something else around. There's like 15 stories on this corner. What do you
Is that
got?
where we borrow?
Where?
So I'll move my bag in front. This is where I get to take a break from the bag while I give you guys a crazy
I know the
pirate
bag's
history.
killed.
Probably.
I know, right?
I don't know.
So let's kind of get into why we're here. Every tour comes here, but they look at the space a little bit differently than what we're doing. So we're here because of the powder magazine. That's the same reason the other tours come here as well. But we're going to be looking at it because, first off, you need to know that those are not crosses on that building. Those are earthquake bolts. If you don't know what earthquake bolts are, they're basically turnbuckles. They go all the way through the building. It looks just like that on the other side. If we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886, then we can turn those turnbuckles, and it'll tighten the building so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work. So the only reason I bring them up is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in. The reason why is because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because that's what I call a familiar. So you guys have watched the TV shows. You've seen that Boo Buddy, the teddy bear with the little blinky lights in it if a ghost comes by. So she had to stop and think about it. Yeah, but anyway, they use that because the teddy bear would be something recognizable to a child. We're here because of the exact same reason. We don't have many buildings this old. This is just something that Anne would recognize because it was being constructed at the same time that she was coming here to start a new life. So the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years?
Yeah.
All for the adults in the room? And by the way, I will keep this as PG-13 as I possibly can. We are talking about a kick-ass female pirate. They can get a little raunchy. I know my audience. Even though I have no idea how old these kids are. Like my 17-year-old daughter, by the way, is this tall. And my 22-year-old is this tall. So about an inch short.
Oh my gosh.
Like they are even, like their mom is super short. So again,
Wow.
when I see teenagers in front of me, like I can tell by your faces that you guys are young. I have no idea how old you guys are, just so you know. But anyway, back to...
They're all babies compared to him.
Aren't you only 2 years younger?
Not even 2.
I'm probably the oldest. I could be all y'all's mom. So.
Well, I already called you a young lady, and you got offended by that, too. So. Anyway.
I appreciate that. Okay, I'll take it.
Well, I've already revealed my age, because everybody asks me. You weren't paying attention.
You said 94?
No, I'm not 94. Damn, I look good for 94.
94.
23.
No.
I'm just guessing numbers.
I told you that my oldest daughter is 22.
Okay, so
That's a good.
you could be in your early 30s. I've known a grandma at 36.
I get it. But I already told you I was close to Chuck's age, who was 45. I'm 44.
Okay, I'm 49.
See?
So there we go.
So you can't be my mom.
That would be weird.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be very disturbing.
A little weird. All right. Now that we've had our private conversation, that's going to be on the recording later on.
Oh yeah, that is. Yeah. All right, I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
No,
Can I have some water,
it's interactive.
Lucas?
I want you to talk to me.
Can I
Anyway,
have some water?
our history begins right in the middle of the building's construction. So 1708, try to follow me. There's a lot of twists here. So I'll slow down on those twists because it can be very confusing because it's family oriented. You guys will see why. 1708, a young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Are you guys with me so far?
The mistress is Anne's mother.
Yes. The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. How pissed was she that she had to kick them out of Ireland to come here by boat? There's no planes. It's 1708. So anyway, they land in Georgetown. You're the only gentleman here with the lady, so make sure you be nice. She'll kick you up to Canada. It's usually the joke that I make. We're the fan. She'll just blow you right out of here. Anyway, they land in Georgetown and Dad bought a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means Dad is now sending young Anne to Charleston to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat. If you're unfamiliar with where Georgetown is, that is between us and Myrtle Beach. So it's about an hour and a half car ride, probably a good 4 to 6 hour carriage ride trip. But anyway, hence the familiar building. That's why we're here. Let's take a step backwards to Ireland again for just a second. Anne was said to be a badass even back then when she lived in Ireland. At the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, they say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. So again, imagine a 7, 8, 9-year-old killing a servant. I can't tell you how many times I've had servant, knife, and belly all show up from 2 or 3 different people, and the other 2 people don't know what the other 2 people have heard, if that makes sense. So yeah, it happens all the time. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown in 1715. I know I'm enjoying the breeze too, so I kind of seen that look on your face. She's got her own breeze. I can't count that. But anyway, where was I? So 1715, the pirates are starting to come through Charlestown, and Anne is pretty excited, simply because she's going to fall in love with one of these gentlemen so she can fall in love and earn her freedom, just like a man. That's what's going on in this world today, well, at that time. So, first guy she falls in love with, and I said first because there's a handful, and that's what makes the damn story so interesting. That's why we're going to talk about them all. First guy is James Bonny. You kind of already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned her pirate name. Now, Anne falls in love with James, but Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica, got married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonny. So, that's where the pirate name came from, but when they get down there, she realizes that James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer. He's a spy, a coward, for the British. That's who he works for. This is not who she wants. A few more years go by, she falls in love again. Guy number 2, John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. Calico Jack is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering who the hell this guy is. Yeah, exactly. Jack has his own crew, he has his own ship. So, Anne wants to be part of that crew and ship, but you can't put a female on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? And keep it family friendly. That would be a no. It's bad luck. So I can already see where the wheels are spinning. So that's why I say keep it family friendly. Because I can already see where people's minds are going. And Lucas is just over there grinning. He's like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But anyway, it's bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, you could be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this. Why? Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. She gets it. It's a man's world. But she's a pirate, so let's go, right? Keep in mind, she's a female in his quarters. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and they're going to get rid of Jack as captain. So, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby here before she starts the show. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has that baby, but returns without a baby. We have no idea what happened to the child, by the way. None of my research has ever found it. She comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. I want you to keep in mind who Anne is. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew that he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the crew that Calico Jack just captured. Now we have 2 females, just like males on the same ship. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. So her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. They're going to take out one measly little pirate ship. Anne and Mary it's the rumor that they were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. Probably because they didn't know how to use cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. So, obviously 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a whole fleet of ships. They get arrested, and as they got arrested, Anne looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog. The word dog shows up on our spirit boxes a lot. Just so you know, I've even had people hear accounts of dogs barking, like on a commercial, as they enter the space before they even know that reference. Anyway, back to Anne and Mary. The judge wants to see the 2 men, by the way, that fought back so valiantly on their own. He wants to see who these brave souls are. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunk pirates that wouldn't fight, so they're dead and gone, November 26th. The two ladies go in front of the judge, and they reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. The judge does not give a shit that they are female, so he's still going to hang them. They're still pirates. We plead our bellies was the last thing they shouted because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging till after the pregnancies. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary. We don't really know. She has 4 kids, that is at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending on Anne Bonny, because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Some say she went up to Virginia, believe it or not, and that she changed her name, and that's where she's buried with her 4 children. However, Mary Read, what happened to Mary? 5 months later, she dies in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most folks will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to say bullshit. Let's make it romantic and call it scurvy. Why the hell not? We're talking pirates. So, here's the things I left out of here. I'm not going to assign questions. You guys know what you're doing here, but this is not a prominent English woman that we need to tiptoe around. This is a know your ghost type situation. We're talking about a kick-ass female chick, right? So we're going to kick her in the shins and get some answers. So, hope don't kick her in the shins. Anyway.
Why do I always get asked this?
Here's what I'm going to tell you that I left out of the story. I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents on purpose. That's the father and the mistress. The name of Calico Jack's ship that Anne became part of, the city where Anne grew up in Ireland. And I also left out the color of Anne Bonny's hair. Everything else is fair game. Just make sure you're not asking yes/no questions. We're going to explore the space. I will tell you, I've caught giant orbs over, not specific with your camera, Jay, but with another camera that works very similarly over by that wall. So I don't know if you want to kind of focus up there. Remember, your EMF, if you get anything on his back half, 2.5 and higher, I'm going to be excited. So even at 2.6, I'm going to be like, oh yeah, this is not the Pinckney Mansion. Up there, you're probably going to get between a 3 to a 7 because of the electrical pulse. So your camera loves to act up in here. Let me know if you start to see staticky lines and going through your camera at all. Everybody else, you guys know what you're doing with your spirit boxes? I'm going to leave you behind so I can see your word list. I haven't taken a look at it in a few minutes. So let's spread out and let's get to work.
I did hear something while we were talking, like when we were talking about like
What
the
do these staticky
male
lines look like?
disguises, it was to hide.
To hide, and I like jacket.
Okay, all right.
Jacket makes sense here. So staticky lines looks kind of like an old TV set. So you would actually almost see like white lines going through it.
Oh.
Yeah, you guys don't know that reference, but an old tube TV gives you static.
Oh, well, damn.
Yeah, the younger generation doesn't know that reference. So when I say staticky lines, that is
The little rocket.
Oh, okay.
Asking what their father's name is.
Oh, look up, pirate lady. What was your father's name?
Okay, hold on. Slow down and say, what is your father's name?
What is your father's name?
What's your mother's name?
What was your mother's name?
And how many children did you have?
I'm supposed to keep a person in the frame. Yeah, go son. still camera. That's where it's at. There's a person down there. If you can't tell, oh no, I can't get the sky in here. Maybe that's the building. Something about earthquakes. No, that's the sky. Is it? Well, need some questions. They're talking about Richard III. I was reading Richard III at my grandma's house a few days ago. It's my favorite.
And what color was your hair?
You get anything? Yeah. Ooh. Where's my phone? Oh, that's not my phone. What's this look like in a camera? Nothing. Guess now is not a time for experiment. It's ghost hunt. I'm going for 11 minutes. Let's stop this and redo this. I'm just following the group, you know. Gotta get some people in the frame. That's what they told me. To find and catch the best ghosts in Ghostbusters.
Message received. Like a text customer. But nothing. I asked what color's your hair, what was the name of the ship, how many children do you have, and I get not that I can pick up.
Okay. And that's, like I said, it's okay.
I got a 2.6 while she's speaking.
It's not like an automated thing like you get on your phone, like message received.
Right. And that's okay.
Oh, you heard.
But maybe hope that's something that we missed.
I'll probably wait them around. Maybe go to the other corner.
Up to you. It's your night.
There's some film.
A lot of people like to sit here and chill because this is what is familiar to Ann. We're on the side of the building. The front's over here on the street side.
This is where I'm finally getting activity over here too. I know we're in a corner closer to
What's it say?
2.7 is the highest I've gotten. But
Is it staying there?
it's,
Hovering?
yeah, it's hovering.
Then it's coming from that electrical pole.
Okay.
How's your word list coming?
Grace.
We're near the church. We get a lot of religious terms around.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense. That would make
That's
sense.
just a common thing, and I don't mean to like throw it aside. 'Cause
Oh,
it is
yeah,
on
yeah, no,
there.
I know.
I do count it as evidence because it happens every night. Like we'll
Really?
Yeah. So when I'm going through Virginia's recording, I'm not paying attention to the timestamps of it, even though I have to write them down so you guys can find them.
Yeah.
I look at it like when I'm done and say, okay, we were at the Pinky Mansion from here. Here's the name Charles. Here's 47. You know, like all of the things that would match up to that specific person. Yeah, don't get attacked by the trees. You all right? You dropped an eyeball.
Baby girl. You okay?
But that's how I look at the list. I don't look at it and seek things out. I just let it happen.
Right.
So that way I can look at the list as a whole, and I'm laser focused. And nobody's in my office. So like I have a co-working office, and nobody works overnight.
Oh,
So
okay. You got to do
I
yourself.
literally have my beats in. I'm staring at the computer so I can write down those timestamps, and then I fast forward every 5 minutes, and I write down whatever I hear. And that's kind of how it goes.
Wow.
So when my daughter's on the tour, she crashes on the couches. She goes to the podcast room. You know, she does whatever she's going to do because she's a drama kid. And sometimes she has auditions to record
Oh,
for
okay,
and things
yeah.
like that. So, so she'll go to the podcast room and do her recordings, or she'll just crash on the couch because there's couches. There's a full kitchen there for me. Like, there's nobody there. I love it.
Yeah,
setup.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
It is the setup for sure. And I have a filing cabinet where I keep, like, I drop off my bag. You know, I park down here, but I walk up, I drop off my computer and my bag because it's obviously a laptop that I take back home with me.
Yeah.
I drop it off and I throw it in my filing cabinet, grab some cold water, and I'm out the door. And there's a clean bathroom, so I don't have to seat for that. That was the main purpose, was the
Yeah,
damn
you gotta
clean
have
bathroom.
gotta
Oh my god, so
bathroom.
3 years of not having, like, seeking around, like, who's open?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
yeah.
So when I told my wife, like, what I'm going to be paying for rent so I can have a clean bathroom, she's like, really? I'm like, you don't understand. You just don't get it. I have an hour drive to work, you know, and I usually have a soda on the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
And I drink water through this whole thing. I need
Yeah, a
bathroom.
Yep.
Hope. Anything going on?
Whatever.
Did you try listening to that at all?
Oh, okay.
Oh, just take the other earbud.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well,
Just do it.
we're
Well,
related.
well,
so.
you're on the
Yeah.
you're on the left, so you should take
Yeah,
the
yeah.
left one.
Do that one. You can ask a question.
Which side?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Does
matter
anybody
which
need
side.
water?
I think we got a hydration
Fully
station.
equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What else do
everywhere
you
we
have
go.
in there?
Everywhere.
Right?
What else
It's
do you
got-
have in there?
it's got pizza.
Well, this is my. I just grabbed stuff for this specific activity.
Hear me out, pirate
Water,
lady.
fans.
What was your father's name?
So we have everything packed for the dogs when we go out. Because I have 3 miniature dog sitters.
Oh, okay.
One of them is my ESA for my seizures, and then the other one is my wife's for her anxiety when I'm not there.
Yeah.
And the other one is a senior, so
Tom.
he needs a stroller.
No.
The little bastard has no teeth.
Oh,
We just adopted him and
Oh,
can't hold his bladder more than an hour. So
I can
constantly-
relate.
God, he's killing me. Like we've had him for a year. And
Oh,
I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting him to make it.
oh wow.
Like when we
Is
picked him up
that-
from the
that bad
shelter,
off?
he was like mange everywhere. But my wife
Oh,
is going to
man.
school to be a vet, and she works at a
What
vet hospital.
was your
Aw.
father's name?
She's really good with nutrition.
Yeah,
so
we're
got him right
animal
food.
people too.
So
And
rehabbed him and just gotta take care of him
Thank
for
you.
whatever he's got left in him. Huh?
he's the happiest little guy in the world.
Is this it again,
Aw,
please?
he's just,
Say
Other
it
kids beat him
again,
you
please.
know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he's the older guy. But again, my other two
He knows
are
his place,
young.
but he's just
He does.
content and happy. Yeah, we have 2 golden retrievers and
So your father? She heard the word father over here. They're asking about the father's name on this side.
yeah, that makes sense.
It could also be a religious term for the church. We don't know yet.
I thought I heard Tom, but
No, that's your father's name.
so I know 50 other guys with that name too. So,
Multitasking. You're listening here and talking and hearing
but I
what's
also
going on
heard
here all
Always.
the time.
Gurlum or Gollum or something. So.
Gollum. But that's a constant thing. So when they're interrupting me
color
and they
hair
say
is.
a random thing like what Hope just did, like I'm still like focused
Mm-hmm.
on.
What town in Ireland are you from?
I'm gonna give Lucas a job later. Like, he's concise.
That's some
I love
good
it.
questions, yeah.
19.
Ken with that 19. You had
Ask
19
nicer
before
with like
earlier.
please and thank you.
I thought she was a pirate.
Yeah, we can kick her a little bit. It's okay.
Yeah.
In this location.
Yeah, so is that to the west or east of Connacht? Come on.
Is she from?
What town in Ireland are you from?
Typical mom.
Oh, this is nothing.
God.
You should see me carrying groceries.
I didn't get anything.
Anything crazy, Jay?
George's. Received.
We had message received over here,
I
did
did
we
have
not?
message received. Yep.
Alright, I should ask
Lost.
getting so specific questions. Let's think, right.
Here. What color was her hair?
What color was your hair? That's a good one.
Sweet child of mine. I always the 2 opening bars of Sweet Child of Mine. It comes in a verse.
We recognize the song. but
Yeah, well,
it's about the lyric.
it's from our,
It's our generation.
It's our generation, yeah. But it was, you'll hear it. Could be wrong.
Like no expression from her whatsoever.
Man, she was born an asshole. I can show you a
Well,
picture of
Sweet
her
Child of
face.
Mine
Called
has
you an
like
asshole.
this.
her
Did you hear
hair.
that?
She
Something,
is.
yeah.
Her face, she's always in like just a,
I don't know.
the
I don't know.
unpleasant,
But they didn't
like,
say it. It didn't say it. It didn't say it though.
Say what color. It was
factory
just safety
kid
here.
ever.
My oldest
Like
daughter.
that's her.
I'm
Like,
guessing
yeah.
she's from Ireland. Her
Yeah.
hair's red,
she's
but
right.
we can't ask you this or no.
Are you presuming that she has
I
red
just-
hair?
Well, you don't presume
I
with
just
ghosts.
said possible.
It is.
And
It's
you know-
red. That's an easy one. It is definitely red.
And the Queen of England, who would have been under control of Ireland at the time, was also Queen Anne.
Queen Anne's Revenge.
Because under the Acts of Union of 1707, Ireland became part
Wow.
of Great Britain.
I'm impressed, my man.
Right?
He's correct. He's absolutely correct.
I let him have too many books.
No. There's no such thing.
Right.
I don't believe in
there's
too
not.
many books. I believe in ghosts every day, but I don't believe in
buy
too
all
many
the books. Yeah, I buy all the books. Sometimes I can't get on my book.
I'm also-
All right, books.
A lot of times when we get just one letter, like that's usually very specific, right? So I want you to also think of
Ask another
like,
question.
the word
Okay,
versus wouldn't always be VS the way we look at it today.
Hold on. You gotta give me a
So
second. Let me
we
think of
are
a
near
real
a
good
place
one.
where there was competition. So it was lad versus
What was the
Isaac.
name of the servant you stabbed?
See, I can't prove that, but it's a great question. I love when you guys give me weird shit because that makes me like really dive into it.
He does all the weird stuff to ask.
Told you I'm gonna give him a job later. Give me writing questions. now.
Right?
Hope you got anything at all. Okay. Jay, I really thought you were gonna be helping her out with that.
Yeah, I'll try. She said, no, never mind.
How many times?
Yeah,
How many
because your
times
cat
did you
can't
stab
hear
her?
anything. There was nothing to hear.
Dad's off looking for more.
I got 1994 again.
Again?
Yeah.
Two. Did you hear that?
Oh,
I don't know.
Crazy.
Yeah, how many times do you need to stab somebody?
a few, actually.
Barn.
Sometimes it takes a
Oh,
bit.
that's a question.
Barn.
How many times do you need to stab somebody to prove your point?
Wait till Dad comes back and we'll call this one in. You guys aren't giving me a ton here. Again, this is a 50-50 shot with this location. Then I'll explain the next location because it's completely different than what we've been doing.
Little.
What was the name of the boat you sailed to America on?
I don't think I know that answer either. Not off the top of my head. I think with all the damn pirate books I've read, I think I know this shit. But that 1707 treaty that you talked about, like that's, I knew that one.
Yeah. He knows his facts.
Nothing, Dad.
Went back to 0 and went on over there.
Okay. All right, we're gonna call this one a wrap. Go ahead and kill
You
your
think the
videos.
static is Morse code?
No, I said ask for some more stories.
Oh, something in Morse code. What, like, can ghosts learn after they're dead?
That's a yes, no. You gotta ask what's the
Well, he's
name.
asking me directly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, could
I
a
don't see
ghost
why
from the
not.
1720s or something know Morse code from the 1840s?
Oh,
I'm
I
giving
guess
you
not.
the full-
Okay.
I have a friend named Christopher Morse. Is there any correlation?
Christopher Morris?
Yeah. Just Morse, like the code.
That's
Spelled
right.
the
Morse
same way,
code
like
was like
A bit after.
Morse code? All right, so let's kind of cover the answers of this location, and I'll tell you what's going on next. So, kill your videos, not the spirit boxes. Apparently, we're dropping.